The Bazaar is being marketed as a new type of game called a hero builder. And of course this means at the game's core, it's about the heroes that you play as more than anything else. Each hero in the Bazaar comes from a different walk of life, has a different background, and therefore plays very differently from every other hero. The game shows off these differences not only through the art, animations, and voice lines, but also through the unique pool of cards that each hero has. This pool of around 100 cards are all uniquely designed for that specific hero. This means that the cards fit the theming of the hero as well as fitting nicely into one or several of the hero's existing playstyles. As of recording this video, they have officially revealed 6 heroes. Some of these will be available as soon as the beta launches in October, while others won't be released until after the full game comes out in 2025. In this video, we will go over each hero, what we know about their lore and their different playstyles so that you can get a good feel for which one fits you the best. Now, it is important to note that because this game is not out yet, we have limited info on all of these heroes. I haven't played any of these heroes, so this isn't going to be some in-depth guide on each one, but those will be coming in the future once the game is officially out. The first hero we are going to look at is Vanessa. Here's what the Bazaar website says about her. A seafaring rogue on the run, Vanessa overwhelms her foes by any alluring or domineering means necessary. But her crew can't get too comfy. Her shows of force are only matched by the size of the bounty on her head. So she's a pirate and her gameplay style reflects that. A big part of her playstyle is getting weapons and using them to overwhelm your enemy, basically just doing a lot of damage. This can be done by getting multiple weapons and focusing on spreading your damage out between them, or by focusing on one single weapon and making it as powerful as possible. The weapon Sniper Rifle is a good example of a card that's great for a single weapon build. As you can see, it deals 25 damage every 10 seconds, but it also deals an additional 200% damage if it is your only weapon. So with a sniper build, you could buy a bunch of other non-weapon items that will buff it and then just go crazy with it. Some other weapons like the boulder have ammo, so they can only be used a limited number of times. The boulder does damage equal to your enemy's max health after 30 seconds, but it only has one ammo, so it can be used once, which makes sense for such a powerful card. Aquatic items are also another item type that you will see regularly when playing Vanessa. These items mostly have a focus on adding buffs to you or your items. A lot of them also give some sort of negative trait to your opponent or their items, so aquatic items are much more focused on affecting other things rather than doing damage themselves. Although there are weapons that are also aquatic items, and of course aquatic items are properly ocean and water themed. Vanessa is meant to be a more introductory character for the game, and they even mark her complexity on the website as the lowest. Her focus is on doing a lot of damage more than anything else. So if you are new to deck builders and card games, or just like doing a lot of damage, Vanessa may be the hero for you. Here's what the website says about Pygmalien. A shrewd Jabalian who dreams of life as a tycoon. Pygmalien leverages his knowledge of investments, economies, and income generation to get a leg up in the bazaar, at his opponent's expense, of course. So Pygmalien is an entrepreneur. He's on that rise and grind, and he's also really jacked. With Pygmalien, you are going to be focusing on building wealth and getting richer, and buying properties will be an essential part of becoming one of the richest people in the galaxy. His item, Lemonade Stand, is a good example of this. Every 5 seconds, Lemonade Stand will heal 15% of your max health, which is good, but it does more than that. When you sell a small item, it will increase your max health by 45. So it really encourages you to try to sell a lot of small items in order to gain as much max health as possible. He also has some weapons that encourage you to gain max health in order to receive extra benefits. Take Jabalian Longbow, for example, which has a +1 multicast if you have more max health than your opponent. Many of Pygmalien's weapons are focused around things like how much wealth he has acquired or how high his max health is. So getting richer and stronger will be your main priority over just doing straight damage. A lot of his items are also themed around working out and being a gym bro. Pygmalien could be the hero for you if you like playing the tank in team-based games, or if you just prefer to focus on growing a large bank account and beefing up your max health over just straight up out damaging your opponent. Dooley is a really interesting character that shows just how varied the heroes in this game will be. Here's what the website says about Dooley. With a veritable arsenal of robotic weaponry at his disposal, and grand visions of robot kind's freedom from the fleshy chains of human oppression, Dooley is living proof of massive things coming in minuscule packages, or that size doesn't matter. So yeah, Dooley's a cute little robot who is sentient and is focused on fighting for the rights of other robots. Dooley is also probably the closest thing that the game has to a mascot. Dooley's playstyle revolves around an item that you could not cell, the core. The core is Dooley's core and can be taken down several paths. Throughout a run, you can upgrade your core to either a weapon of mass destruction or an incredibly powerful support item. Several years ago, this item was shown to do 10 damage and advance all items to its right by 1 second, while items to the left would advance the core by 1 second when used. Advance is a mechanic that skips the amount of time indicated rather than just speeding up the item's cooldown. So you have to decide how much you want to focus on upgrading the core and advancing that versus getting other powerful items and advancing them instead. Julie will also have a plethora of robot friends that can help out. Most of these robot friends will be buffed by having other robot friends, so it really encourages you to build a large squad that gains bonuses off of one another. A lot of Julie's items will also likely be based on other effects like burn and haste. The flamethrower is a Dooley item that does 2 damage every 5 seconds, but also does burn equal to 200% of the item's current damage. Burn is an effect that damages a player twice per second, so at its base it'll be doing 4 burn, but you could buff this item's base damage and really take advantage of the burn mechanic. Another item, Claw Arm, does 10 damage every 4 seconds, but when the item gains haste, the Claw Arm and the item to its left gain additional 5 damage, haste being an effect that speeds up the cooldown of your item while it's in effect. So you put Claw Arm to the right of Flamethrower, and then put the Cog item that gives an adjacent item haste for 1 second every 4 seconds to the right of Claw Arm, and then you're doing way more damage, including burn damage. This is a little glimpse into a Dooley build that we've seen, and kind of shows what other Dooley builds could potentially look like. So if you like cute little robots and a gameplay style that is the most complex out of all the current heroes, at least according to the website, then Dooley could be the hero for you. Now we are moving on to heroes that won't be out with the closed beta, but will be launched soon after, either in the open beta or around the time the game officially launches in January 2025. Jules is a chef who owns a restaurant, and she also has a young daughter. Here's what the website says about her. A chef par excellence, Jules uses her culinary expertise to chop, dice, and slice her way to the top. For her, it's not just a taste of victory, it's a whole banquet. Naturally, with being a chef, a large part of her gameplay is focused around food, and her unique mechanic Joy reflects this. A large focus for her character will be to feed food to her opponent and create joy. We haven't seen this mechanic in a few years, so how exactly it works today isn't known, but the idea is that it makes your opponent so happy they just give up fighting altogether. Jules is also going to have a lot of burn items that are things like appliances you might see in a kitchen. So a lot of damage focused Jules builds will likely involve doing a lot of burn damage. There are also going to be regular damage items that take the form of things like kitchen knives that will just do some good old fashioned damage. So Jules builds will likely be focused on balancing creating joy for your opponent along with doing damage to them. Jules is marked as a lower complexity character on the website, but with her unique mechanic of joy along with more traditional damage, she should be a really unique and fun character to play. They've also already revealed her grandmother as being a merchant in game 2, which is pretty cool and helps to expand her lore. Stelle is probably my most anticipated hero. Here's what the website says about her. Hailed as a prodigious young pilot by peers and professors alike, Stelle uses her aeronautical abilities to confound her foes in the Bazaar. For Stelle, if the sky's the limit, you're not thinking creatively enough. So Stelle's whole thing is that she's this up-and-coming pilot and mechanic who is gifted at what she does. This means her items and gameplay are heavily focused on flying and engineering stuff related to flying. A big part of Stelle's gameplay will focus on making your items fly, but we haven't seen what exactly that mechanic will look like in game in any recent build. What we do know is that making your items fly will speed them up, along with potentially providing them with other benefits. She'll also have a focus on vehicle items, stuff like blimps and other flying things. While some other characters also have access to their own unique vehicles, they seem to be an essential part of Stelle's gameplay. She'll also have some sort of tinker mechanic that allows you to improve new items. What exactly this is yet to be seen, but they mention it on the website, so it will definitely be an essential part of her gameplay. Stelle is marked as being a low complexity character, but her flight mechanic is interesting, and I think that there will be a lot of really cool builds that you can design around it. Mac is the hero that we know the least about. The website says, hardened by the violence and tribulation of hundreds of years past, the immortalist Mac eschews banal guns and swords in favor of refined poisons and elixirs. Don't cross him, or you'll regret it forever. So Mac is this loner type that's always watching his back and ready to take out anyone that crosses him. A big part of Mac's arsenal is going to be his potions. We don't know exactly how they will work, but we do know that they have a limited number of uses. He'll also have a focus on doing negative status effects to his enemies, likely through his potions. potions. This will be things like burn, poison, slow, and freeze. He'll also have a lot of ways to regain health, probably through potions and other items. Max seems like a really interesting hero and certainly unique from all the others, but we just don't know enough yet about his gameplay style to really know exactly how he will play. And that is all 6 heroes in the Bazaar that we know about so far. All of these heroes seem really fun to play, but of course we will have to wait until they are out before we can make any final calls. And of course the concepts of heroes like Max seem interesting, but we just don't really have enough to go on yet. It's also important to note that the way each hero plays may change a little as the game progresses. Over time, the Bazaar will introduce card packs of 10 new cards to older heroes. When purchased, these cards will be added to the hero's existing card pool. While these card packs likely won't radically change a hero's playstyle, they could make for some unique additions to already existing playstyles. Hopefully this video helped you pick your future main in the Bazaar, and I will see you in the next video.